Having started a revolutionary war based on a Declaration of Independence that talks about unalienable rights, those same framers, for the most part, understood that a pure democracy and unalienable rights have nothing to do with each other. In fact, voting and unalienable rights have nothing to do with each other. Unalienable rights aren't given by government. They're given by God. Voting has nothing to do with it. But the whole point was to protect the individual. There was a great debate over whether to list a number of areas in which this new government could not directly harm the individual. And the decision was made at the Constitutional Convention not to address that. The argument on one side, really the Madison argument, was, well, if we start listing things, maybe we will forget something. The argument on the George Mason side was, well, we better list some things, particularly the main things, or there may not be a protection. After the Constitution was adopted and the first Congress met, it was Madison himself who went to the floor and reminded the members, the new House members, that they had made a promise to the states. See, it was the states that insisted on what would become the Bill of Rights. Initially, he was ignored, but he was persistent. And to make a long story short, he prevailed. We got our Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. And every one of those amendments addresses things that occurred with Britain and in other countries where the government would become too powerful, centralized, and the individual would be devoured. And so you have freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of religion, freedom from religion. You have a Second Amendment right to possess a weapon, to have a weapon. The states had a right to have their own militia. Due process, equal protection, the takings clause, protecting personal property, private property. No general warrants, that is, some general warrant, particularly from Parliament in the past, or even a king, making just certain things illegal and applying it to everybody without going through a process, legislative process, and no legislation that could be directed at a single individual. So a single individual couldn't be punished by the federal government. These were things they had learned to be concerned about from Britain. The Ninth Amendment, in my view, was a restatement, a reflection on the Declaration of Independence, that this whole country was founded on the right of the individual. And, of course, the 10th Amendment was a restatement of federalism. The Constitution doesn't create an all-powerful central government with plenary power. Not in the least. Not in the least. One of the things that the state conventions insisted on before they would vote on the Constitution is an assurance that when it came to determining election laws, the state legislatures would have the primary power.